Coming up on Citrus TV News, modern apartment complexes popping up in the area are giving upperclassmen more options for off-campus housing. Why some students find the new options appealing.
And an SU professor scored the Onondaga County Democrats' nomination for Congress. How she plans to defeat John Katko this fall.
Today we saw sunny skies and felt some strong winds. How long will the sun stick around? I'll tell you in my full weather forecast. Citrus TV News starts right now.
Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Donations are pouring in for the 3 OCC students killed in a car crash early Friday morning. Good evening, I'm Elissa Candiotti.
And I'm Mike Riccardi. Bailey Rose, Sam Rozmanovic, and Michael Walker were all killed in an alleged drunk driving crash near Onondaga Community College.
While families and friends are mourning their deaths, the man accused of driving drunk and running away from the scene is out of jail.
And GoFundMe pages were created for each victim to cover funeral costs. In just a couple of days, most have already reached their goals, with donations from the community ranging from $10 to $100.
Rose was a former OCC student and 19 years old. She was dating Walker, who was just 18 years old and studying business administration at OCC. Osmanovic was a 20-year-old student. She had lost her mom to cancer a week before the crash. They all died at the scene.
The man accused of driving drunk, crashing into them, and running away from the scene is Anthony Saccone. He's currently out of jail after posting $100,000 bail. He is charged with the DWI and fleeing the scene of an accident. He's expected to appear in court on Wednesday.
Etan Thomas, a former NBA basketball star and Syracuse player, is coming to Hendricks Chapel as part of the Tanner Lecture Series tonight. Thomas will discuss the significance of activism in the athletic community, the topic of his new book. Thomas hopes to encourage young athletes to take a stand. The talk begins at 7 p.m. Participation in peaceful protests won't affect students applying to Syracuse University. SU joined the list of colleges that will not penalize those who participate in the protests against gun violence. This comes after some schools have threatened to suspend students for engaging in walkouts. Cornell is also on the list of schools that will not penalize its applicants.
While many students entering their 3rd and 4th years at Syracuse opt to live in homes or houses in the Euclid Avenue neighborhood, newer, modern-style student living options are popping up around Syracuse. Citrus TV reporter Zachary Levine shows us where some students may be living next year.
Right, for a long time, living off campus has meant you'll most likely end up in an older, more run-down house or apartment on or near Euclid Avenue, dealing with landlords and paying utilities bills. Now, there's a much newer, student-friendly option.
When most students think about living off campus, they think Euclid Avenue. Over the last few years, modern luxury student apartment complexes have emerged around campus. While Park Point has established itself at Syracuse as one of the most modern, priciest living options, multiple other sites look to rival it. While the most prolific housing construction project of the year has been the Marshall, which will be open to students this fall, the 505 on Walnut and Theory on East Genesee Street hope to attract people as well. There's no question the Marshall is closer, but the 505 offers students special features.
The 505 on Walnut, we actually have smart apartments, which is unlike anyone else in the market. It's voice recognition, so you can change the thermostat, unlock your doors, do maintenance requests, right by voice control, so that's pretty cool.
Theory on East Genesee Street plans to offer residents similar features as well. While housing projects around campus are on the rise, some students feel like living in a cheap house near Euclid will still be their preference.
Houses on Euclid will still be popular as long as they stay like $300 a month. Because other apartments, they can be like $1,300 and that's $1,000 more per month, and I'm sure people like cheap.
So for me, I'd say pricing was a huge deal, given that I would like to live for the cheapest, and I'm not real picky with where I want to live. But some students may have certain accommodations. They may want certain speculations with the housing, or may want specific requirements fulfilled for where they want to live.
Now, Theory, the 505, and the Marshall are all leasing for the fall semester of this year. The leasing offices are offering special promotions to entice students to sign a lease or recommend friends.
Thanks, Zach. And today begins National Eating Disorders Week, and in honor of it, Emmy, an iconic plus-size model, is on campus this week to promote body positivity. Tomorrow, Emmy is hosting a screening of the documentary Straight/Curve, Redefining Body Image in Grant Auditorium. Doors open at 5:30. Then on Wednesday, Emmy will host a lecture in Grant Auditorium as part of the Lit Distinguished Speakers Series. And an SU professor, Dana Balter, will run against John Katko for the New York 24th District House seat in November. The Onondaga County Democrats met Saturday to endorse Balter. She won 73% of the votes and has now secured the nomination from all 4 counties in the district. The SU professor says she wants to meet with as many potential voters as possible in her campaign against Katko.
I am going to be all over the district, every place that I can possibly be. Anywhere somebody wants to sit down and have a conversation, that's where I want to be. Open meetings at churches, at firehouses, at community centers. Anywhere people want to come together and talk about the issues that our communities are facing, that's where I want to be.
With drone technology on the rise, our reporter Ehlin Hansen talked to local businesses about how they can turn upstate New York into a drone industry hub.
It's no secret that the Syracuse economy has suffered for a lot these past decades. Once a bustling industrial town, the city now has to reinvent itself. In an effort to do just that, the New York state government started a project called Upstate Revitalization Initiative, which aims to distribute $500 million through grants. Professor of Economics Donald Dudkowski says that he believes state funding can be beneficial to economic growth, but that there's no guarantee of success.
My sense is I would rather see somebody try something to address the problem rather than just sit around and complain and do nothing.
Sean Falconer, owner of Falcon View Aerial Photography, says the industry has much room to grow.
I think that the drone industry right now is still in its infancy. You know, like I said, I started this 4 years ago, and it's kind of just been growing exponentially.
And Ed Gonzalez, owner of High Point Aerial Photography, says that using a drone can change one's perspective of the world.
It allowed me to see the world in a different perspective that you've never seen before. So, like, instantly, it like became my passion right there, because I was like super high, and I had like the 3D goggles on, and it was like I was just like floating in the air, you know.
Besides the drone industry, money from the $500 million initiative will also go towards revitalization projects over the next 5 years, such as turning empty buildings into apartments and business expansions to spur job growth. In the wake of the school shooting in Parkland, Florida, New York State lawmakers have proposed 4 bills that would improve school safety measures. Senators are backing bills that would fund armed resource officers and are introducing bills that would require every school to perform a threat assessment on their buildings.
Well, Elissa, you know, it's been warming up.
One senator is proposing enhanced scanner technology for every school, and another is pushing to have New York City police officers stationed in schools. All the measures have bipartisan support. Today is the 25th anniversary of the first terror attack on the World Trade Center. On this day in 1993, a group of terrorists detonated a bomb inside an underground parking garage beneath the World Trade Center. The blast killed 6 people. A church service was held this morning at St. Peter's Church, followed by a ceremony at the September 11th Memorial and Museum to honor the victims.
Well, Elissa, with the temperatures warming up these last few days, I can't remember the last time we had snow. I think winter may be on the way out, but you can never be certain here in Syracuse.
I am smiling about that news, and Jenna Babyak is in studio to tell us more.
Yeah, guys, I don't know about you, but if you're me, I looked out the window this morning, I saw the blue skies, I saw the sun, but you stepped out, it was still pretty windy and kind of chilly. We're looking at 42 degrees right now, so that's pretty warm, warmer than we've been experiencing this winter, but it's still kind of chilly, partly sunny, but the clouds have been giving way to the sun all day. And then if we take a look at the past radar, look at this, we see barely any clouds coming through. It's extremely clear today. Thanks, guys. I'll have your full weather forecast coming up later in the show.
And coming up, the Supreme Court is deliberating a case that could have big impacts for unions, and it made a decision that could affect DACA recipients.
And students are at the site of Florida's tragic school shooting are finally returning to class. Find out how the community is moving forward when we return.
They call me MAXIE, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the CitrusTV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
The U.S. Supreme Court is hearing arguments that could hurt organized labor. The case challenges an Illinois law that requires government employees to pay fair share fees to public unions, even if they are not members. The Trump administration supports overturning the law.
The court considered the issue back in 2016 and split the vote 4-4. Now, all eyes will be on the court's newest member, Neil Gorsuch. Labor leaders say overturning the law would hurt them financially. And in another decision, the Supreme Court will not hear the Trump administration's appeal on the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA. Earlier this year, a lower court ruled that the federal government must keep the immigration program in effect.
This decision means current DACA recipients can apply for a renewal on their visas until a final decision is made on the case, likely summer of 2019. The decision could also ease some pressure on Congress to pass a replacement to the DACA program. President Trump is meeting with state governors today to discuss school safety following the mass shooting in Parkland, Florida, that left 17 students and teachers dead.
During the event, Florida Governor Rick Scott outlined his plans to address school safety, including increased funding for security and restricting gun access to people with mental illness.
Trump also defended his proposal to arm teachers, stating retribution is the only way to stop future school shootings.
And students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School are returning to their school nearly 2 weeks after the massacre. The school held an open house yesterday afternoon, inviting students and families to discuss how the community can move forward.
Students also reunited with classmates and faculty they hadn't seen since the shooting. One teacher says seeing his students was relieving.
The more students I ran into, it was much more, I'm so glad to see you, I'm so glad to see you, and people were happy versus sad, and as opposed to a negative emotion. People were very upbeat and very relieved to see each other like you haven't seen them in years. And it's felt like it's been years since I've seen them.
Faculty and staff members will return to work today and tomorrow. Meanwhile, classes are expected to resume on Wednesday.
The Winter Olympics are officially over. Athletes from 92 nations marched one last time through the Olympic Stadium to mark the end of an event which brought a rare period of peace to the Korean Peninsula.
The U.S. flag was carried by cross-country skier Jessie Diggins, who won the U.S.'s first gold medal for that sport in Olympic history. Overall, the U.S. team fell slightly short of expectations, placing fourth in the medal count with a total of 23. Meanwhile, Norway led all nations with 39 total medals. And as the games come to an end, North Korea says it's open to talking with the U.S. At a conference in Seoul over the weekend, representatives of the ruling Workers' Party stated that the North was seeking to increase relations with its southern neighbor and the U.S. and would even be open to discuss its ongoing nuclear program.
The move is a rare show of diplomacy from the North and has left South Korean and U.S. officials debating how to proceed.
The city of Cape Town in South Africa announced that its Day Zero, or the day when the city runs out of water, will be pushed back a month. In early February, the city announced that it will be out of water by June 4th. Now, the date has been pushed back to July 9th.
Cape Town reservoirs are at 24% of capacity as of 3 days ago. The city only has 14% of its usable water left. Coming up, several people are dead after severe storms sweep through central U.S., leaving many regions heavily flooded and damaged.
And the U.S. will see fewer health insurance users in 2019, according to a new report. Find out how many Americans could be uninsured next year. That and more when we come back.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. Tonight's forecast, we're looking at some lower temperatures. It's going to be 36 degrees, dipping lower into 30s once you're sleeping. Pretty cold out there. But then looking at our future radar, we've got some clouds rolling in, but no precipitation to be worrying about when you wake up in the morning. Pretty dry, staying throughout the night. And then looking at your forecast, when you wake up tomorrow, it's going to be 39 degrees. Now that's pretty warm to begin with, but then once we go into the day, it's going to be 54 degrees. Now that's the warmest it's going to get tomorrow. Mostly sunny, pretty mild, but we're still seeing some high wind speeds. It's going to be about 15 miles per hour, but you can finally take off those layers. It's going to be really nice and sunny tomorrow. And then planning your day, it's going to be warmest actually at 3 p.m., so it's going to get warmer throughout the day. And then at night, it's going to get a bit chillier, but still pretty warm, seeing temperatures in those high 40s. Now looking at the current temperatures throughout the area right now, we're seeing it pretty consistent, other than in the south and in the west it's a little bit warmer, but all the other cities around the area are pretty consistent with what we're seeing in Syracuse. And then looking at the temperatures around the next 7 days, pretty consistent, but then it's dipping lower Saturday into the weekend, getting warmer next week into Monday. And police say 5 people are dead after severe storms swept through the central part of the country last night. A line of thunderstorms caused widespread flooding and spawned a tornado that touched down in Kentucky. Damage from the storm stretched from Texas to as far as Canada. Various towns across the central U.S. held evacuations before the storm systems arrived.
According to the Urban Institute, Obamacare premiums will rise more than 18% next year due to President Trump's changes. The study says there will be 6 million less Americans with health insurance in 2019 due to the repeal of Obamacare's individual mandate and the expansion of cheaper health insurance plans. The Trump administration is pushing to make it easier for Americans to access these short-term insurance plans.
Coming up,
Find out how Syracuse's stifling defense was not enough against Duke, and see how SU lacrosse needed a second-half comeback to avoid making the wrong kind of history, and the latest on the NHL trade deadline.
That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Your CitrusTV Sports Report.
The history of Syracuse versus Duke going into Saturday's clash at Cameron Indoor Stadium was as even as it gets. Since joining the ACC, Syracuse is 3-3 against the Blue Devils, while the all-time series set at 5 apiece. So something had to give as the Orange shipped down to Durham, looking for a resume-boosting win. And give it did, as Syracuse's jump shots did not make the trip down to Durham, despite holding Duke, who boasts the third-best offense in the country, to just 60 points on 11% shooting from behind the arc. SU could not solve the Duke zone. Syracuse hung around, successfully at least, and as they never trailed by more than 12 points until the final 7 minutes of the game. The difference? Well, that was that front court duo for Duke of Marvin Bagley III and Wendell Carter Jr., who accounted for almost half of Duke's points. Howard and Battle accounted for a similar percentage for SU's offense, but with less volume and efficiency in this one. After the game, Coach Boeheim recognized the offense just wasn't there.
You know, if you hold Duke to 60 points in here, I'd say that I don't know offhand, but they're probably averaging around 80-something in here, 87 or something in here. I'm not sure. It might be off there a little bit. You're not going to win the game if you don't score. We just didn't score. Our defense was fine. We battled them pretty good, but you know, we just didn't score.
Just before SU and Duke tipped off in Durham, SU lacrosse was looking to avoid being on the wrong side of history. The Orange needed a win against 9th-ranked Army to avoid becoming the first Syracuse team ever to drop 2 straight games at the Dome, and the tension was palpable throughout the game, especially because Syracuse did not start off well in this one. It mirrored the same thing as the Albany game that Syracuse fans had seen last one. Right off the top, it's Sean O'Brien in the second corner. Army's up 5-1. They would lead 6-1 in the second half. Now, second half action, third quarter, back comes Syracuse. Here comes the cardiac Cuse you saw all of last season. That was David Lipka on the goal. Now fourth quarter, man up for Syracuse and the lead. Nate Solomon puts it in the back of the net. Syracuse's first lead since the first quarter. But the Black Knights wouldn't go away quietly here. They knocked the game up right here. Connor DeWitt rips top cheddar. Army ties the game at 10. We go to overtime. But we wouldn't go to 1. We wouldn't go to 2. We go to the third one. Don Madonna fires a rocket down the field. Finds Ryan Simmons, senior to senior. Syracuse gets the win in not 1, not 2, but 3 overtime. Syracuse improves to 2-1 on the season and avoids losing to Army for the second straight season after losing to them in what, you guessed it, a 1-goal game. And as for the SU women, the Orange finished up senior day yesterday with a 69-63 win over Boston College. The game was expected to not be this close, as BC is 7-22 with just 2 ACC wins on the season. But BC's Taylor Ortlep kept the Eagles in it, setting career highs with 28 points and 7 3-pointers. But in the end, Tiana Mangakahia's 21 points proved to be the difference with 3 late buckets. Next up for SU is an ACC tournament battle with Virginia Tech on Thursday. As for the Gridiron, Syracuse football welcomed 5 new staff members to the Orange family this weekend. The staff includes Tim McAuliffe, Travis Green, John Gunter, Sean Teeter, and David Scorzelli. Coach Baber's Bowling Green connection remains present in the new hires. Both McAuliffe and Green played for the Falcons, where McAuliffe was an all-conference center and Green left as the all-time leading rusher for Bowling Green. In the NBA, tonight, the Knicks face quite a challenge as New York hosts the Warriors in the Garden tonight. The Knicks come limping into this game, having dropped 7 of the team's last 8 games since All-Star Kristaps Porzingis tore his ACL on February 4th. Golden State, on the other hand, they comes in winners of 5 of the squad's last 6 games. Tip is set for 7:30. On the ice, it's sell time for the New York teams. The Sabres have traded away Evander Kane to the Sharks for draft picks and prospects. Kane is set to become an unrestricted free agent after this season. Meanwhile, reports say Rangers captain and defenseman Ryan McDonough and forward JT Miller are off to Tampa Bay in exchange for Vladimir Namestnikov, prospects and draft picks. McDonough has captained the Rangers for 4 straight seasons.
Well, Jackson, I was at the Syracuse lacrosse game on Saturday. You know, such an exciting win. I was ready to write off the season there in the first half. Real quick, how important was that comeback win for the Cuse?
Monumental, because that season changed right in there. You could see all the freshmen, the young youth on this team gaining confidence as that went on.
All right, thanks, Jackson.
No problem.
Citrus TV will be right back.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where do cats go on vacation? New York.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text Barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News. Taking a quick look at our 5-day forecast. Tuesday is going to be mostly sunny tomorrow, great sunny skies, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, seeing showers and light rain. And then Saturday, we're seeing another sunny day, partly cloudy, but we're seeing temperatures a little lower.
Thanks, Jenna. And the Coliseum may seem an unlikely location for a snowball fight, but a cold front moving across Europe brought several centimeters of snow to the Italian capital of Rome, a rare event that briefly turned the city into a winter wonderland.
That's right. With many schools closed by the weather, children spent the day sledding and having snowball fights while the city's mass transit network struggled to operate. This is the first snowfall Rome has seen in nearly 6 years.
And that's all the time we have tonight for Citrus TV News. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News. I'm Mike Riccardi.
And I'm Elissa Candiotti. Have a great evening, Syracuse.